Number 20. Man, what? I wonder what holiday icon can be strong enough to guide Santa through a fog, or able to light his way. Well, that's one of the subjects of my 20 spot. However, that spot happens to go to a Rudolph movie, but it's not the Rankin Bass version, though. It's a sequel to it. You see, in 2001, a not very well-known computer animation company called Colorland Animation Productions made a sequel called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. And I gotta say that, even though some people may or may not like this version, I enjoy it, though, since it does bring back some fond memories of the original Rankin Bass film. I mean, it does bring back such characters such as the Misfit Toys, the Abominable Snow Monster, Hermie the Elf, Clarice, Yukon Cornelius, and certain others. The plot of this one is about Rudolph and his friends trying to hunt down a criminal called the Toy Taker before Christmas and get the toys back. And the cast of this movie is not bad at all. Rick Moranis is pretty funny as the Toy Taker. Jamie Lee Curtis, surprise, as Queen Camilla, is fun too. And Kathleen Barr, well, is not a bad Rudolph. And I don't know if many people have heard of this one, but still, I recommend you check this out if you're a fan of the original classic. Number 19. Man, what does everyone know about Richard Rich, huh? I mean, a man who used to work for Disney, which started his own animation company after making The Black Cauldron, and then all of a sudden, making films such as, Trumpet of the Swan, the animated King and I film, The Scarecrow, and certain others. He even produced Alpha and Omega. But there's only one film that is kind of considered his best and maybe his only good film that he ever made, which was called The Swan Princess. And, well, he originally did pitch it at the Disney Studios, which unfortunately was rejected, but thank goodness he made his own version of the film. And it did make some few sequels as well. But recently, there was one Swan Princess film that was made specially for this time of year. And that is The Swan Princess Christmas. And, and you're wondering why this one was made. Well, probably Rich wanted to make a new Swan Princess film after so many years to get people back to get people probably to remember the good old times when the Swan Princess was actually good. However, this one had a little bit of a change to its format. I mean, the first three films were hand-drawn animation, but seriously, Rich, why'd you have to move it to CGI? Seriously. However, even with the change of animation, the story is pretty good to me. It also does, however, the plot of this one is kind of about Rothbard up to no good again after a year, and it's this is Odette and Derek's first Christmas together, and a cat named Number 9 who's working for Rothbard is trying to help him get back from his grave. So it's after Rothbard is released from some kind of chest in the basement of Hubertus Castle, Rothbard does whatever he can to use the forbidden arts to break the Christmas spirit. Even though it's a shame that Jack Palance is no longer alive to reprise his role as Rothbard, neither is Michelle Nicastro alive to do Odette. But the new cast is pretty okay to me, but still, why can't John Cleese ever come back? Why can't Stephen Wright ever come back to do his role? Or, I wonder how Howard McGillen is doing. But still, even with the change of cast, this movie, along with some of the songs, is a great film to watch during this Christmas time. But there are still plenty more left on this list. Number 18. Now, I bet you all remember Beauty and the Beast, do you? How much of a classic that film was? Well, 7 years afterwards, the people at Disney Toon Studios decided to make a midquel to the movie, but making it a Christmas-themed one. And that film happens to be Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. This film kind of take place after the wolf chase. It's like, it starts on Christmas Eve, when Belle and the Beast were out skating, and all of a sudden, like, she finds out that the Beast detests Christmas and forbidden it from having it at his castle, because of, like, he feels like that day was, like, the day that he got cursed in the first place, and he's been upset about it ever since. So, like, Belle is working with the castle servants, along with the castle decorator, Angelique, to probably try to bring Christmas back to the castle, and put the Beast back into the spirit. But while they're doing that, an evil pipe organ who doesn't want the curse to be lifted, named Forte, played by Tim Curry, like, tries to do what he can to stop Belle from doing it. And it's also interesting that there are a few characters, new ones that I like in this one, such as Forte's sidekick, Fife, played by Pee Wee Herman, or mostly everyone knows as Paul Reubens. And still a good Christmas film nonetheless, and worth check out. This film is even better than that Belle's Magical World film that was made later. So, this will always be a time when the world is filled with peace. Number 17. And this one is kind of be called from a trilogy that I'm not too much of a die-hard fan of. I mean, I like the Santa Claus trilogy, but still, like, not all of them seem to be a sparkle in my day for me at times. But there is one out of the three that do spark my time. That film happens to be the Santa Claus 2. In this one, that takes place like several years after the first movie, Santa has a couple of problems. One is that there's another Claus he has to go through, which requires him to get married, otherwise he can't be Santa anymore. So he has to find a Mrs. Claus by Christmas. But while that's happening, his son Charlie has been getting into some graffiti trouble with the principal. And so to substitute him while he does these things, the Curtis, the next in line head elf, makes a toy Santa, which unfortunately doesn't go too well as he thought. It's like the toy Santa gets a little bit out of control as the story goes on. Like when Christmas approaches, like, he just declares that everyone would get coal, and over that, you should check this film out for yourself. And this film will also bring a tear to my eye. But also my favorite character in this film is Lucy, played by Liliana Mumi. Overall, Santa Claus 2 is the best out of the 3 Santa Claus movies. But there are also still plenty more left on this list that I still need to talk about. And, speaking of Santa Claus, number 16. I mean, everyone loves the Rankin Bass classics. The ones that were made for the holiday season. However, there's one about Santa Claus that supposedly my favorite, and there's also another one later on, but this one that I'm going to be talking about now is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's like, have you ever wondered how Santa would become a toy maker? Why he has whiskers? Where he got his red suit from? Well, this film kind of does answer those questions, thanks to the narrator, Mr. Kluger. In the story, Kris Kringle does start out as an orphan, but in the beginning he is first rejected by the evil Burgermeister Meisterburger, and is then taken in by the Kringle Elves, whose specialty is making toys. After he grows up, he decides to give toys to children, even though it's against the law in Sombertown due to an accident the Burgermeister had with one. And during his time, like, Kris does meet some certain new friends while he delivers toys. Like, he meets a lost penguin named Topper, his future wife Jessica, and even the comedic and comical Winter Warlock, who started out as a scary villain. And this also does have some classic songs, such as Put One Foot in Front of the Other, or When You Sit on My Lap, or the title song Santa Claus is Coming to Town. In some parts, even though most of it's stop motion, some of the songs have been hand-drawn animated as well. Like, still a classic story that will make you turn from a miser to a miracle. Stay tuned for part 3, everybody.